You use these things every single day without ever once asking why they are the way they are. But behind each one is a clever, surprising reason that most people are simply never told. Some of them were quietly designed to save your life. Others exist only to fool you completely. Here are 15 everyday things and the hidden reasons you were never taught. Why is there a tiny hole at the bottom of every single airplane window? It looks like a tiny flaw or a scratch, but it is doing something vital. Each window is actually made of several panes with air sealed in between them. That little hole lets the tough outer pane take on all of the cabin pressure. So if anything ever cracks, it's that strong outer layer, never the one beside you. It also quietly stops the window from fogging up while you fly at 30,000 feet. Why do the caps of most pens have a small hole right in the very top? It's not for the ink, and it is definitely not a manufacturing mistake. People, and especially young children, sometimes accidentally swallow pen caps. If one gets lodged in the throat, it could block the airway completely. So that little hole keeps a tiny channel of air open just in case. It's a simple hole, quietly engineered to save lives. Why are school buses always that exact same shade of bright yellow? That precise color wasn't an accident. It was chosen on purpose back in 1939. Your eyes notice this particular yellow faster than almost any other color, especially out of the corner of your eye, in the dim light of early morning. And bold black lettering stands out sharply against it even through fog. It was carefully engineered to be seen and to keep children safe. Why is there a tiny pocket tucked inside the front pocket of your jeans? Almost no one actually uses it, and most people never stop to wonder why. It dates all the way back to the 1800s, to cowboys and laborers. Back then, working men carried their pocket watches on a chain. That little pocket was the perfect size to hold the watch and keep it safe. The watches eventually disappeared, but the tiny pocket never left. Why are manhole covers almost always made perfectly round? It might seem random, but it is actually a brilliant piece of safety design. A round cover can never fall down through its own round hole. Turn a square cover on its side and it could slip diagonally straight down. A circle is the one shape that simply cannot fall through itself. Plus, you can roll a round cover instead of lifting its crushing weight. Why do stop signs have exactly 8 sides and not 4 or 6? No other common road sign shares that shape, and that is exactly the point. You can recognize a stop sign by its outline alone, with no words at all. Even seen from behind or buried under snow, the 8-sided shape gives it away. That instant recognition can buy a driver precious extra seconds. It's a shape chosen so you know to stop before you can even read the word. Why does ketchup stubbornly refuse to pour, then suddenly rush out all at once? It's because ketchup isn't really a normal liquid at all. When it's sitting still, it behaves almost like a solid, thick and stubborn. But shake it or smack it, and that sudden force makes it turn runny. Scientists call this strange in-between behavior a non-Newtonian fluid. And on a glass Heinz bottle, the secret tap spot is the number 57. Why is one side of aluminum foil shiny while the other side is dull? Many people swear the shiny side reflects heat and must face a certain way. But that is a complete myth. Both sides work in exactly the same way. The difference simply comes from the way the foil is made. 2 sheets are pressed together at the same time so they don't tear. The sides touching the rollers turn shiny, the sides touching each other stay dull. Why are the letters on your keyboard in that strange, scrambled QWERTY order? It would honestly seem far simpler to just put them in alphabetical order. The layout comes from old mechanical typewriters more than a century ago. Each key swung a thin metal bar, and bars that sat too close together jammed. So common letter pairs were spread far apart to stop the bars from clashing. The typewriters vanished long ago, yet their layout still rules every keyboard you touch. Why is a golf ball covered in hundreds of tiny little dimples? A perfectly smooth ball would seem to fly better, but the opposite is true. The dimples grab onto a thin layer of air as the ball flies through it. That clinging air cuts down the drag that pulls the ball backward. A dimpled ball can fly nearly twice as far as a perfectly smooth one. Those tiny dents are the hidden secret behind every long drive. Why do we say bless you the moment someone sneezes? It's a habit almost everyone follows automatically, completely without thinking. No one is completely sure where it began, but the stories are ancient. Some people believed a sneeze could let evil in or let the soul slip out. Others say it started during a deadly plague, as a small prayer for the sick. The old fears faded away, but the little blessing stuck around for centuries. Why do we wear wedding rings on the fourth finger of the left hand? It's a tradition shared across much of the world, yet few people know its origin. The ancient Romans believed a special vein ran from that very finger. They thought it led straight to the heart and called it the vein of love. Centuries later, anatomy proved that special vein never actually existed. But the romantic idea was simply too beautiful for the world to give up. Why do we even have eyebrows in the first place? They might look purely decorative, but they actually do a very real job. Their main task is to keep sweat and rain from running into your eyes. Their arched shape steers the water out to the sides, away from your vision. They also do something just as important. They help you communicate. A single raised eyebrow can say more than an entire sentence. Why do so many tall buildings have no 13th floor at all? Step into the elevator and the numbers often jump straight from 12 to 14. It comes down to an old and surprisingly common fear of the number 13. Builders worried that nervous tenants would refuse to rent a 13th floor, so they simply skipped the label and called it the 14th floor instead. But of course the floor is still there, you're just standing on a renamed 13. And finally, why does the close door button in elevators so often do absolutely nothing? You press it again and again, but the doors close on their own time anyway. Here's the real secret. In many elevators, that button is completely switched off. Laws require the doors to stay open long enough for everyone to get in safely. So the button only truly works for firefighters using a special key. It's a placebo button placed there purely to make you feel in control. And once you know that, you'll start spotting placebo buttons everywhere you go. 15 everyday things, each one with a clever reason hiding in plain sight. The world is full of these little mysteries once you actually start looking for them. Follow for your quick why.